because this is so good right here. Let's look at this. So here we are, and we're just going right back to the top because I want y'all to understand the characteristics of a guide. So we're going through building a story brand. We're recognizing that the customer, the marketplace, they are the main character. We are simply the guide to them. And so seeing this, right, like the two characteristics of a guide and what it says is a brand must communicate their position as being empathetic and being an authority, right? Being empathetic. So, what is empathy? Let's define these words and not just ever pretend we just get it. Empathy is the ability to connect with a person and understand where they're coming from. And more than anything, empathy isn't just you understanding, it's actually the other person feeling understood, right? Empathy is I can feel what you're feeling. I can relate to what you're feeling, and I can share that relation. I can share that connection so that you feel that I understand you. So it's important that the guide is able to connect with the main character. It's able that you as a business owner, that you as a excellent communicator, right? Because even outside of business, this is if you're raising your children. This is if you're connecting with your your fiance or your husband, your wife. This is the ability to let them know, hey, I understand what you're going through. I understand what problem you're experiencing, or I understand the joy you're experiencing. I understand the emotions you're experiencing, and I can actually communicate that understanding to you in a way that you feel understood. That's empathy. Please understand that. So, when a guide is able to position themselves as being empathetic, awesome. We now have a bridge of communication, a bridge of connection that has now occurred. Then from there, establishing themselves as an authority. And here's why we want to be able to establish themselves as an authority. You're recognizing that the guide has already gone through in their own story arc the problem that you've gone through as well as the solution. When Yoda was teaching Luke Skywalker how to be a Jedi Knight, was Yoda already a Jedi Knight? The answer is hell yeah. Yoda was a Jedi Knight. So, of course, he can teach Luke how to become a Jedi Knight. He could teach Luke how to use the Force. And so it was still Luke's story, but Yoda becomes this character that enters into the story to give him what he needs. So when you're talking to homeowners, if you're an investor and you're picking up the phone and you're reaching out to real estate agents or you're reaching out to homeowners, you're the person that's like, hey, I've already solved a pre-foreclosure. I've already educated myself entirely on how to get rid of the tax lien. I've already done all these things, but you're still the main character. You're still the focus of this conversation. Please remember this, guys. Like, position yourself empathetically to connect, and then as the authority. Here's the biggest mistake I see newer business owners, newer entrepreneurs. They actually struggle with the second part. They struggle with the authority because in their mind, they're thinking, I don't have the track record yet. Here's a great way to leverage a track record. Right? Because to be an authority, the resume that you carry doesn't necessarily have to be yours. What do I mean? Let's say somebody went and decided they were going to go and work for like a Fortune 500 company. And they go and they get a uniform, they get a badge, they get all this stuff. Or maybe somebody's working, make it even simpler. Somebody's going out and they get a brand new job and they're door knocking for a roofing company. And so they're going out and they're asking people if they want free estimates for the roof. And that roofing company they work for has been around for 100 years. It's very easy when they're wearing that uniform and they've got the badge and they can say, I'm part of ABC Roofing, for them to leverage ABC's Roofing's resume and say, hey, we've been around for 100 years. We do this, we do that, we do this. It instantly gives them authority when they put on the uniform. For many newer entrepreneurs, if you have zero resume, what you need to go and do is connect with a larger organization, whether that's a mentorship, a networking program, another business, right? If I was brand spanking new and I had nothing, no money, no resources, no anything, I'm going to go find the best operator in my marketplace and I'm going to go and say, can I work for you? Can I join your team? Because what I want to do is I want to leverage your authority. And I'm going to go and work for that person for a few months until I can build my own stories, until I can build my own resume. I can build my own authority, and I can have authority independent of the organization I'm with. This is so critical here. And many of you right now, by the way, you're doing that currently. You're building your own authority. And that's a part of what gives you like an undeniable stack of evidence that gives you confidence to be able to go back into the marketplace and position yourself as the guide, that you're not afraid. The reason people are afraid to position themselves as a guide, I'm just going to tell you this right now. The reason you might have ever had hesitation about this is because a part of you has worried, what if somebody calls me out and says, well, what's my experience? Or they ask me, well, how much have I done? Or how many properties have I bought? Or how many businesses have I sold? Or how much money have I made? And you're afraid to give them the truthful answer, which is, I haven't done anything yet. Ain't nothing wrong with that. When I was brand new and a person asked me that question, typically they don't even ask that question if you present with enough confidence in the beginning. But if someone did ask me that, I'm able to rely on the fact that I can say, well, listen, I actually haven't done any deals yet. I'm new. And so because I'm new, I aligned myself with a mentor who's been doing this for the last 20 years, who has over 1,000 properties, who's done over 1,000 transactions. And we actually have a team of specialists who solve this problem. So let me know, what concern do you have that you want me to maybe address to them? Because if I don't have the answer to a problem or an answer to your question, what I would like to do is I would like to actually bring that back to my team so that we can get the right answer to you. That way I don't put my foot in my mouth trying to answer incorrectly to you. And I would say that to people. And guess what? All of it eased them again, because it reminded them they're the main character of the story and I am simply a guide. Right? In this case, I'm more like their search engine. I'm the search bar at Google, and I'm just connecting you to the website you want to get to. So I don't have the information. I'm just connecting you to the bigger mentor by going and being the liaison for the information. So there's always a win. When you're framing your mind this way, that I am simply here to serve, all that pressure, like when people are like imposter syndrome or the pressure to make a sale or the pressure, all that pressure flies out the window because it's not about you anymore. When you're feeling pressure about having a conversation, it's because you keep telling yourself, you're starting to convince yourself again that you're the main character on a subconscious level. But if you start to come back to the surface and remind yourself, I am the guide. My business is the guide. My service is the guide. My product is the guide that takes them from where they are to where they want to be. And I'm simply here to serve them and help them. And if they don't want my help, I can't make a person want my help. I'm not going to lose sleep over that. It's not going to affect me negatively if you don't want my help, because it's not about me. It's about you. And so if you reject me, that's not a me thing. That's a you thing. So let's just keep this in mind. And as we keep going through this, I just want to make sure this is so deeply ingrained and deeply framed. So before we keep continuing, does anyone have any questions about that? Love it. Perfect. So let's keep going.